Sigma Nu fraternity was founded at Virginia Military Institute by 3 college-age veterans of the Civil War: James Frank Hopkins, Grenfield Quarles, and James Riley. Having experienced hazing by upperclassmen at Virginia Military Institute, these 3 young men took an oath at the Rock to create an organization that would resist hazing and ridicule and promote high moral principles and good conduct. Thus, in 1869, Sigma Nu began. Sigma Nu chapters sprang up quickly. By the early 1900s, Sigma Nu had spread throughout the South, the Midwest, and to the Western states. In 1916, Ralph McWhinney, a stout, well-scrubbed young ranch boy from Converse County, traveled by train to attend the University of Wyoming. He arrived to discover that aside from private boarding houses, there was no organized housing or meal service for college men. This energetic, ambitious, and intelligent student founded Gamma Theta Chi, a brotherhood of 14 members that would demand mutual respect and high moral conduct, a fraternity that would foster shared experiences through common living and dining spaces. They purchased a 10-room home at 413 South 7th Street, the first fraternity-owned home in Laramie. Looking to affiliate with a national organization, they recognized that Sigma Nu National Fraternity aligned with their own purposes and objectives. On October 29, 1920, Sigma Nu National Fraternity issued a charter to the 24 members of Gamma Theta Chi to become the 96th chapter of Sigma Nu Fraternity. And today we celebrate 100 years of brotherhood, shared living spaces, memories, and values. 100 years of Sigma Nu.
We sing to you, dear Sigma Nu, beloved fraternity, a song sincere with pledges of unfailing loyalty.
What does it mean to be a member of Sigma Nu? Particularly, it has always been a very, very proud thing for me. The thing that has continued with it, when you're there, when you're inactive, when you're involved in all the day-to-day things that the fraternity's doing. Of course, you're proud of that. You're in competition, frankly, with the men in the other fraternities, and you're in competition to excel in the university where you can. But beyond that, as time goes by, you're extremely proud of what the fraternity has meant to some of your colleagues as they have gone through life and have tremendous success. You're very proud of the fact that those people who you respected and felt were worthy have gone on to many, many very highly successful things. So you draw pride in that. Yeah, he was my fraternity brother, or is my fraternity brother. Just the legacy of 100 years over there is a thing to be proud of, and I'm very proud of that.
I'm John Vandal, pin number 705, retired in 2012 as the Dean of the School of Pharmacy.
I'm John Logan Allen, Epsilon Delta 860. I'm a retired university professor, Professor Emeritus at both the University of Connecticut and the University of Wyoming.
My name is John Hirsch, Epsilon Delta 905, and I'm a retired attorney.
I'm Bill Hill, Epsilon Delta 1074, For the last 20 years before I retired, I was a Wyoming Supreme Court Justice.
Hi, I'm Eddie Georges, badge number 1111, and I'm a retired retailer.
My name's John McBride. My PIN number is Epsilon Delta 1136. I'm a retired attorney.
My name is David Walrath. My PIN number was Epsilon Delta 1156, pledge class of 1970, and I'm a retired mechanical engineering professor from the University of Wyoming.
Hi, John Haynes, Epsilon Delta 1308. I'm Executive Director of the Community Investment Trust for Mercy Corps.
My name is Jonathan Thorne. My Sigma Nu PIN number is 1351, and I'm a medical device company entrepreneur and executive.
I'm Tad Hers, Epsilon Delta 1413, and I'm currently CFO of a small oil and gas company in Denver, Colorado, 4 Point Energy.
Hi, I'm O.C. Nelson, Epsilon Delta 1770, and I'm a partner at Light Edison.
I'm Dino Gabriel Monchecki, Epsilon Delta 1839. I'm an attorney in Aurora, Colorado now, and I'm a member of Sigma Nu, forever and ever.
I'm Mason Werbelow, Epsilon Delta 1935, and I was recently hired at Light Edison as an engineering coordinator.
My name is Cooper Crockett. My badge number is 1945, and I'm currently a first grade teacher in Rock Springs, Wyoming.
I'm Scott Engel, PIN number 1933, and I'm the current eminent commander of Sigma Nu.
Someday we'll wander back again to dear old Sigma Nu, where we have spent our college days with all our brothers true.
It's our creed to believe in the life of love, to walk in the way of honor, to serve in the light of truth.
This is the life, the way, and the light of Sigma Nu. This is the creed of our fraternity.
We used to finish every chapter meeting with that. Love, honor, and truth means so much. The love part is the brotherhood. That's exemplified by just this coming weekend when so many of my era brothers are going to be here.
Brethren forever.
When I joined here, and especially with COVID hitting so hard in this community and constantly fraternities being locked down because it just spread so quick, there was huge growth in what brotherhood meant to me.
As you get older, you look back on things and you see that the teachings of honor and brotherhood really did play a role in your life, and that they maybe had more importance than you thought at the time.
We were, after all, brothers. That sense of brotherhood, that sense of long-standing friendship was more strongly developed by people who lived in a house.
Since 1916, 4 homes have served as residence to Sigma Nu. The current chapter house on Fraternity Row was built in 1955 at a cost of $155,000. 1,300 fraternity brothers have called this house their home.
I just tell the newcomers coming in, this is going to be your lifelong place. No matter where you go, no matter what happens, you'll have brothers and you will have a place to come. This house has been a home to everyone that's come through these doors, and it'll be a home for you.
Sigma Nu fraternity has always meant to me as a home away from home. The fraternity, when I came over, was located down at 5th and Fremont, which it's now a law office down there, and a little house back on the alley was kind of a bunkhouse, and there were always a couple guys lived out there. Normally you wouldn't as a freshman live in the house, but I wanted to be a hasher and they had an opening, and so I became a hasher, and then I moved down to the house. Everyone slept pretty much basically up on the top floor, which was about the 3rd floor up. And it was very cold up there was no heat. And there was one window that was partially out. And one morning I woke up and there was snow on the end of the bed. And the problem we had down there, we just didn't have room for people to live in the house. And we were really growing at that time. We were approaching up in the high 80s and 90s. And so we really had to move here. And so they built the new house. By the way, the Sigma Nu fraternity here owns the property. It's not state land or university land. It's owned by we have a title to the ground. So we were able to build the house we want, and it was built so that we could add on the east side to have another floor, but which we've never done. In 1955, I believe it was, we moved into this new house. There was no yard work done. So we had to plant the crabapple tree that's still out there now, and it just began to grow and get bigger. And we had to put in the grass and the sprinkler system, the trees. All in all, it has been a good endeavor.
My Sigma Nu, I'll remember you. College days with carefree ways bring memories fond and true.
Wave, Dad.
Happy to be here.
That's the Sigma Nu house. Oh, your house. I see your house. Nick, took a photo.
So when I was in college, we used to get a big, tall Christmas tree.
Yeah.
There's a bay window in front.
Okay.
So you cut the trees.
Okay.
Take the top and put it on top of the house.
Got it. So it looked like the tree went all the way.
So it looked like the tree went through the roof.
I'm an extremely nostalgic person, and so like the older you get, the more powerful the older memories are. You know, it's like those were like the best of times, right? So like as you age, those memories only get sweeter because they're further away. So I think that for sure, like when you get together and, oh, remember that time? I mean, that's priceless, right? I mean, it's even walking into the house, I mean, all those memories just wash over you in an instant. You know, you see it, and you can the same smells, and oh, that time, you know.
When I enter the house, it's very familiar. It's very comforting. It feels the same. It's nicer in some ways, especially up here. It feels kind of like going home in a way. The back halls are much nicer now, much nicer. But it's still a bunch of guys living here. You can feel it. It does seem interesting and inspiring to think that you can throw a group of guys together in a place and they can self-govern.
That's a big chasm to cross between high school hellion and company executive, and the ethics and maturity you need there. And really, I think right in between those two extremes was the University of Wyoming and the Sigma Nu house. What I credit Sigma Nu with is really starting to develop that maturity, because you realize you're part of something. You're not just an individual as a lot of kids are in high school. You're with a group of people. You're responsible for keeping this house going, and that adds a lot to maturity. I mean, you don't come out, I think, of college completely formed ethically as you would. I mean, that takes even more time, but this was a big part of it. And it's the little things like having to dress up for Monday dinners and entertaining people from the sorority, ladies from the other side, and all of those things that go with it.
You learned table manners. You learned how to wear a jacket and a coat and tie, and yet you knew that some of the other meals that were less formal, you could have fun. And so you looked up to the ones that were ahead of you, to the people who were your peers, and you patterned yourself somewhat after them, which was not all bad. And you kind of take the rough edges off of a young guy coming to school.
The whole sitting down every day and having dinner, the responsibilities of, just cleaning the house and, attending, at the time they were called pledge meetings, and, doing all of the non-fun stuff was kind of a shock. And if everybody's not working together, things can fall apart pretty quickly. You have to have the person that's in charge of the kitchen making sure that the food's ready, or the guy's going to be upset. And you have to have the pledges, they were in charge of cleaning. And so, you know, someone's got to do the dishes. And then you have your upperclassmen kind of running the house, doing all of the meetings with alumni, meetings with the university. And so at first it's just a lot to take in, but after a while you love it.
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't understand that when you step into that house, it's, you know, 100 years of tradition, but tradition, another word of that is structure, right? And I mean, you don't notice. You come in and it's fun and you're doing sports, but what you don't understand is like you're forced to learn how to conduct yourself in a meeting or run a meeting. You're expected to run for positions and hold a position, and what does that mean? And be accountable to, you know, other people. And I held various positions throughout my time there, and it was that very organic maturation. You didn't notice that's what was happening because you wanted to do it. I wanted to hold the house manager position or whatever else, but that is the prep. That's one of the magical things about Sigma Nu is that it's preparing you without you even noticing. Without overgeneralizing, part of successful adulthood, personally and professionally, is structure and routine and those sort of things, right? And inherently, as an 18-year-old, that's usually something that's missing, right? And so I think that it is. It's like you know, some people might look from the outside and say, well, the idea of a pin system is some sort of like artificial seniority. Well, an 18-year-old can understand that. He has a higher number than you. There's a level of seniority. Military does the same thing. It's just a stripe or something. And obviously, we have a military background. So, you know, an outsider might say that's some sort of forced structure, but isn't that what like parenting is? Or, you know, so I think the thing that's so beautiful about the house is like it shows you need to show up on time for dinner or there is no dinner. You need to show, you know, and that's just a level of an accountability that is super valuable for an 18-year-old, you know, and it shows. I mean, the stats are what they are as far as like the people that come out of fraternities and stuff. I mean, that's because that structure has an impact on who you turn into, right?
The hierarchy was by pin number, though. So anybody who had a higher pin number, and of course if you were a pledge, you didn't have a pin number. So that determined who got to choose the channel on the TV, not that there were that many choices then. That determined who got to use the pool table, that determined who got to sit where at lunch or dinner, et cetera. So in that sense, it was kind of regimented. There was just a structure, there was a schedule, there was study tables helped.
The pin number card is pulled quite a bit.
Are you pulling badge?
If you want something and if someone's sitting in your seat, you can call pin number and they have to move.
Yeah, I lived in this room for my sophomore year with Bill Ebsry from Sheridan, Wyoming.
The better your number, the better choice you had as far as rooms were concerned. And finally, my senior year, we lived at the very end of the hall.
My room as a senior would have been here. We chose this room because it was a good place to study and also it was kind of quiet down here.
Those pin numbers were all established in your pledge year because that's when you're assigned your pin, and it was based on your grade point average. And so there was a lot of, I would say, emphasis on that, on grades. And I would say that also came from our founder, R.E. McQuinney, Epsilon Delta number 2. He was very interested in making sure that we worked hard and we did the best we possibly could to earn the better grades.
Part of the fraternity was that you were expected to do your very best academically. And Epsilon Delta was one of the best chapters in the nation as far as its scholarship. We had won the coveted Gallagher Trophy a number of times, which was awarded to the chapter in the country with the highest grade point average.
Our chapter's priority of fraternity life is first, academic achievement, second, fulfilling brotherhood responsibilities, third, participating in social events. A successful member adheres to this hierarchy and does not reverse the order. Academic achievements are emphasized, but our fraternity also provides meaningful social experiences. Rush Week, the Homecoming Parade, the Homecoming Sing, the annual tree push. Some traditions, like Chanticleer, have been retired. New traditions, like the Night of 1,000 Nuggets, are having their day. Time will tell if this continues, but surely some traditions, such as the White Rose Formal, will continue.
We enjoyed Friday nights. We had songs that were set to some of the worst limericks that you have ever heard in your life. I don't regret any of that. We had a good time. And it was part of the idea of the Friday night, rowdy night, was to let your hair down after a week of being formal and just have a good time. I had attended a student conference, leadership conference for the chapter in Lexington, Virginia. I believe it was between my junior and senior years. And that's when I was introduced to High Rickety, Hoop-de-Doo, and brought that back with me, and that became sort of a chant for the fraternity.
So this 100th anniversary is pretty special to all of us, even though it's 2 years late because of the coronavirus, which delayed a lot of things for us with school, online school and all that. It just culminates like the different chapters of people's lives, I think, in this house, because I can have a chapter in saying I went through coronavirus in this house.
When it all started initially, you know, I was kind of cooped up in my little room off campus, 8 hours a day or whatever, and that the moments that I got to go over and hang out with the guys were like one of the most cherished moments, I would say. It really feels like I've fostered true relationships and long-lasting ones.
I met Mason at a luncheon because I went to the house, and we were just, they always are going to have a little just meet and greet when it's the start. You know, you get a couple lemonade and just check out the house. So I'm wandering around the back halls and doing my thing. But I was sitting in the living room, and there's, I like to meet the new guys and shake their hands. And so I'm sitting there, and like I said, when I came in, someone was playing the piano. It was a beautiful piece. I'm an amateur musician, so I'm always impressed. And so while I'm standing in the living room, he's playing again. And so I am talking to another member, and I'm saying, who is this guy? And I loved it because they were lovingly annoyed. They said, they're like, that's Mason, he's engineer, straight A's, positions in the house, plays piano, so he was that. And I just said, someone that's an engineer that also has an artistic side is extremely rare. And so I said, I got to meet this guy, right? So we struck up a conversation, and I just happened to be in hiring mode. And I said, what are you trying to do? And he said, well, I'm graduated from engineering, I'm looking for a job. And so handed him my card, he entered our interview process, and now he's one of my project engineers. So it's been amazing.
I have met probably the guys that will be my best man at my wedding. I know that there'll be guys at my funeral. I think there'll be people in my life that will stick around forever, and I think this place plays an important role in that because I've met some really lifelong friends, and I think the men here I've connected with and the people around us have made a lasting impact on my life, and I think I've made a lasting impact on their life.
Hullabaloo, Jericho, all together for Sigma Nu.
It's something we talk about quite often, is that there's been, my badge number is 1945, so there's 1,945 people before me in this chapter alone. And that's just a huge weight. Looking at people like our advisors like John Hirsch, Dave Foreman, John Vandal, and all the advisors that look after us. They were in college, they were figuring out their way in life. They didn't know who they wanted to be, and they were here in this moment, and they became something from this place. And looking at that badge board, it just shows how successful they were at that. We look at people like John Hirsch, a veteran and an amazing human, and then I can see that I have the same role. That badge board represents a lot more than just names on a board to me, I guess. It represents what built this place up.
Looking at the board behind me, is a humbling thought. I notice when the alums come back for homecoming and come to the house, the first thing they want to see is the picture of themselves, the way they looked in college, which is displayed downstairs. and then they want to see their name on the board. And so it makes you very proud to say that you're part of that, and it also humbles you to know that half of those names of those guys behind me have passed on. I look at the board, the new board in there of all the young guys, and think, well, I had a part of their life for a while, and I wish them well.
There's a long sense of continuity being a member. Every time I'm at the house, which isn't all that often anymore, I still go look at the board, and my number's in the same place, but there are sure a whole lot of numbers coming after anymore, and there's still a whole lot of numbers before. Belonging to an organization to where it's where you have this connection is just important. It's a sense of belonging.
All right, this is 905 right there.
There you are.
In our Epsilon Delta chapter of Sigma Nu, from our founder to our newest initiate, we carry the values of love, honor, and truth, mind, heart, and character.
To develop ethical leaders,
inspired by the principles
of love, honor, and truth.
To foster
the personal growth
of each
man's mind, heart, and character.
To perpetuate
lifelong friendships
and commitment to
the fraternity.
I remember those words a long time ago. The true sense of fraternity, I think, is probably how you sum that up. And it sets you out on your path in life. It's like I tell these young men when they graduate, keep your honor clean. Govern your life with your honor, and you'll be just fine. That's a tenet of Sigma Nu and also the Marine Corps.
Well, they're words to live by. And if your experience and your education hold true, those are principles and factors that you lead your life with. And it starts very early, and with good fortune, it's going to continue all your life.
Being a Sigma Nu is really to enjoy the fellowship of so many different friends and men that I've known for so many years, to not only have that brotherhood and that friendship and camaraderie, but to also have the responsibility to make that available for younger people. And I think as I find myself getting older, I want to have that more and more for young men so that they can learn and grow and develop these friendships and relationships like I was given that opportunity to do. But it is a responsibility to be a Sigma Nu. I feel that way. It's not just going and having a few beers with guys and trying some nachos with some new cheese dip. It's more than that. It's actually trying to foster our ideals, trying to make men better, and really trying to give all of your experiences that you've been able to garner over the years to others and to make them better. And I'm honored to be a Sigma Nu, and I'm honored to be a Sigma Nu at the University of Wyoming in particular.
"100 years of inspiring college students to become successful men under the banner of Sigma Nu. Epsilon Delta chapter of Sigma Nu will continue to grow for future generations. Our badge board will continue to grow. May we and those who follow us be bound by brotherhood, mind, heart, and character, and love, honor, and truth. We are united by Sigma Nu.